2.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Sorry for the delay in terms of starting. We were having a bit of technicalities in terms of just switching the session from the room 1 to the second room, but I believe that has been sorted. So my name is Victor Otieno. I'm the County Chief Officer, Digital Economy and Startups. Just want to welcome all of you to this particular session where we'll be discussing digitalization of informal sector in Kenya. So again, the whole gist of the entire Tech Week is to be able to explore collaborations between, of course, county government as well as with the different stakeholders who are, say for example, within the SME space in Kenya. So we have a very powerful panel. We have a very powerful list of speakers that we hope will be able to unpack this particular session. So maybe without further ado, I would want to start with a bit of keynotes, just different organizations to be able to share what they do, the challenges that they have. Then possibly after that, then we can be able to have a panel session where we can be able to explore collaborations. Then probably we can be able to have 1 or 2 presentations from 2 startups, one from Egypt, another from Mexico, from I think Malawi. Then probably we can just be able to get a way forward. So I would like to introduce our Chief Officer for Hustler Opportunities, Ms. Zipporah, to just give us an overview in terms of what Hustler Opportunities is all about. Karibu sana, Chief. Can you give a clap?
I want to stand on the already established protocols and say all protocols observed. My name is Zipporah Mwangi, Chief Officer for Business and Hustlers Opportunity. Good afternoon. I want to do a brief presentation of the sector so that you're able to understand what is business and hustler opportunity and what, as a county, Nairobi County, we are focusing on matters to do with business. All right, so that is our background. According to Kenya National Bureau of Standards 2020 Economy Survey, the COVID-19 pandemic had unprecedented impact on the economy, especially the informal sector. Self-employment in the informal sector grew by 5.5% from the estimated 14.5 million percent in 2020 to 15.3 million persons in 2021. Arguably, the informal sector created about 753,000 jobs over the review period. Such success were witnessed due to growth in digital space, prices for the informal sector. In Kenya context, the informal sector accounts for 32% of Kenya GDP and offers approximately 77% of employment, opportunities. It is imperative for business to make their services accessible to marginalized populations through digitization. Digitization of the informal sector is a key driver for better financial inclusion. Through the aid of technology, forward-thinking businesses are capitalizing on opportunities for innovation to meet unmet needs. So as a business and hustler sector, the sector was established by His Excellency Governor Johnson Sakaja through an Executive Order number 1. And the sector is headed by a CCM and 3 chief officers. The sector has 8 subsectors and 8 directorates. So for the subsectors, we have Nairobi, we have business and hustler opportunities as a subsector. We have markets and trade as a subsector and also cooperatives as a subsector. In business and hustler opportunities, we have Nairobi City County Liquor Board as a directorate, micro, small and medium enterprise as a directorate as well, and gaming and betting and rotaries as a directorate. For markets and trade, under it we have trade licensing, trade and industry, weight and measures, and markets. All those are directorates. Under cooperatives, we have cooperative development and audit. So I will narrow down to the theme of the innovation, which is largely catered in the MSMEs. So the MSME Directorate was established on 22nd December 2022, following His Excellency Johnson Sakaja's Executive Order number 1. The Directorate key mandate is to support the growth and the development of micro, small, and medium enterprise through the following functions. Function number 1, access to affordable credit, that is Biashara Fund. And the digital opportunity in this function is to ensure that innovation is unleashed for economic growth, which include now the Biashara Fund, will be managed through management of information systems to ensure financial inclusion of indigenous MSME. Provision of financial support to the MSMEs, again, is also an innovation that is geared to addressing challenges within the informal sector. So the second function is capacity building, business counseling, advisory and consultancy. So in this function, we are looking at informing the MSMEs using bulk messages, educative information sharing via the Directorate's website. So the digital opportunity in this function include now access to digital financial literacy through training for both formal and informal MSMEs, digitization of financial records and operations of MSMEs, and looking forward to establishing, we're also looking forward to establishing a business incubation hub. And of course, we will be offering mentorship programs for MSME and startups. The third function is enhancing market linkages through support of MSMEs participation in both local and international exhibitions or trade fairs. So the digital opportunities in this function is to establish an e-commerce platform to market MSMEs product and services both in local and international markets. So in conclusion, entrepreneurs that maximize in digitization to rethink their businesses model will gradually thrive and gain a competitive advantage. This shall make them more impactful and sustainable while ensuring interconnectedness with other economic sectors. That is, in brief, that is what we do as BHO. So our focus is to ensure that we are taking care of businesses and we are giving them an environment where they will thrive. tunaweka pesa mifukoni. Thank you very much.
Can give her a round of applause again. She's dressed for the occasion. Next up, we have Karim Bayo from ILO, Technical Officer, Enterprise Formalization SME Unit at International Labour Organization. Karim will be joining us virtually, so if the technical team is ready, we can just queue him up for his keynote. Welcome.
Yes, Andy, thank you. Just to check, can you see my presentation?
Karim, you can proceed.
Yes, just a question. Can you see my presentation so I can start?
You can proceed, Karim.
Okay, so yes, thank you very much. As mentioned, my name is Karim Bayo. I work for the ILO, International Labour Organization in Geneva. I'm in charge of work related to addressing informality and enterprise formalization and supporting informal sector enterprises to formalize. And today, in this short input presentation, I'll be talking about the possibility that digitization can have to enhance this transition to formality of enterprises, and also supporting government to improve and implement the different support programs that contribute towards formalization. So first of all, when we talk about the informality of enterprises, as was also already touched upon in a previous presentation, this is not marginal. So we see on the global level that around 80% of enterprises or economic units are considered as informal, meaning they are either not registered, they are either not paying taxes, they are either not complying to certain sectoral regulations and so on. So this is, especially in developing and emerging countries, a very common phenomenon. And when we talk about the informality of enterprises, small enterprises or also medium and large enterprises, it's also always important to consider that there is a dimension of the informality of workers. So people employed in these enterprises. And if you look globally, we have around 60% of enterprises employing people who are informally employed. In Kenya, the share is on average even higher. So depending if you look at the rural or urban region, there are differences. What we generally also see is that more women workers are considered who are part of the informal economic activity. And in addition to that, when you're looking at the different sectoral activities, many are engaged in activities such as wholesale trade, resale trade, and other less value-added activities. So when talking about transition to formality from the perspective of the ILO, why are we working on this area, and what is the background for working on this? So first and foremost, our work related
Sorry, apologies for technical challenges. Okay. No, innovation doesn't mean things are easy. Yeah, so probably we can just pick it up. We can be able to pick it up later on, maybe, so that we just move on in terms of time. Is maybe just to line up our next speaker. We can get back to Karim in a few once we've been able to take care of our technical issues. I would want to welcome the chair for the Kenya National Federation of Jokali Associations, who represents MSMEs, a bulk of the majority of the of us 8-point-something million SMEs in Kenya. I want to introduce Mr. Richard Muteti to come give us just an overview. So whenever we talk about SMEs informality, these are primarily the customers or the clients that we're talking about. So I mean, it would be very important to hear it from the horse's mouth. So that possibly after we are done with this session is what are we going to do to ensure that we're able to digitalize the informal sector. So I mean, hearing from them would give us a bit of context for this conversation to move forward. Karibu sana, Chair. Can give him a clap.
Thank you very much. All protocols observed. Thank you very much, Chief Officer for Hustlers in Nairobi. I concur with the data that was projected. My name is Richard Muteti. I'm the Chief Executive of the Kenya National Federation of Jokali Associations, as well as the Head of Secretariat of the East Africa Community Confederation of Micro and Small Enterprises organizations covering the 7 countries, and the Chairman of the COMESA Business Council SME Work Group for the 19 countries. It gives us pleasure to be here today. I had prepared some talking notes, but Chief Victor has mentioned that I give some deeper background a bit. I want to affirm here that the MSME sector, majority of whom are in the informal economic sector in Kenya, are divided into 4 subsectors by law. We did an act of parliament in 2012, MSC 2012, number 55, that divided the MSMEs into small manufacturers, small traders, small service providers, and the agro. In totality, as of 2021, just to add a bit to the figures that were given here, apart from the 15.4, the 15.4 did not factor the agro-based. The agro-based that included small farmers and the guys who had cattle and so on. As of today, the total is around 20.2 million in the country. So that's where we are. You'll allow me to read the speech that I had made. If I knew, I would have prepared a small presentation. So once again, we are privileged and honored to be part of this forum. We were happy to join the governor on Monday in the inauguration of the first ever Innovation Week for this county. And I take this opportunity to thank the Nairobi City County government, together with its key stakeholders and players in the digital and tech ecosystem, for conceptualizing and hosting this innovative Nairobi Tech Week 2023. This event itself, an innovation of its kind in Kenya and in the region, especially in the way each session and track has been curated with uniqueness and focus. I was here, and everybody was passing on the booths with awe. There were so many young tech innovators, young CEOs, young founders, and it was very exciting. So the Kenya National Federation of Jokali Associations, which I head the secretariat, was registered in 1992 as the umbrella body representing the primary Jokali associations in the country, whose members are skilled artisans engaged in the production of various goods and services in the various subsectors, with a structural network through the counties to the constituencies in Kenya. As the informal sector representative organization in Kenya, we are therefore very lucky that we could be part of this conversation. We are especially thankful to our partners, the ILO, who are a global authority on informality, for also working with us to co-host this particular session. We feel that the conversation about the nexus between informality and digitization of the informal sector is long overdue. Ladies and gentlemen, in most low and middle income countries like Kenya, the informal sector makes up most or almost all enterprises. Kenya's informal sector is commonly referred to as the jua kali sector. The Swahili word for this is fierce sun, because most of them operate on the roadsides, on areas that are not very well prepared for them and so on, which comes from the thousands of work sites where artisans manually work on auto parts, furniture, metal, wares, handicrafts, and so on. The jua kali sector operates in 18 subsectors currently. Most of you know the furniture, wood fabrication, Masai market, handicrafts, and so on. In Kisii, we have the soapstones, and so on. So, as per the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, the Economic Survey 2021, I don't have to go through again, we have just been given by the chief what it takes. The government of Kenya, in its economic development plan, the one that the president is calling the plan, has since prioritized implementation of the bottom-up economic transformation.
Of startup and SME enablers of Kenya to be able to guide this particular conversation. A good clap for Mercy Kimalat. Karibu san.
Please just let me know if you can hear me again. There was a technical glitch, I think, on the end. So otherwise I can continue. Just give me a short sign, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Some of you, I saw you enjoying a nice meal and a good cup of tea for us Kenyans and a nice cup of juice. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, so thank you so much for coming to this session. We apologize for starting a bit late. There's someone we're waiting for, but we're really ready to kick off in this important discussion. I'll be your moderator today. My name is Mercy Kimalat. I'm the CEO for ASEC, as Victor has introduced me. And I knew Victor, I think since 2018, when we were in the discussions of how do we form a body that can actually have a collective voice for all the entrepreneurship support actors, incubators, accelerators, maker spaces, the investor communities, and many other partners in terms of how do we build a more inclusive and prosperous startup and SME ecosystem. So really happy to be here and to moderate the session today. So today we are going to have the session in two parts. We're going to have a keynote address by 4 of our panelists who will come and talk about the work that they're doing and really how they're using technology in the financial sector to spur economic growth, mainly for Kenya, but also how it's also helping the region to actually grow. And then we'll move into a deeper panel discussion where we're actually going to address key thematic areas to really understand how, even as private sector can work with government, as well as other key stakeholders to build a more inclusive and collaborative ecosystem. So I'd like to invite my first panelists to come on stage, and kindly let's welcome them with a clap as they come on board. One, we have Mr. Wilson Njoroge Gakuya, who's the Chief County Officer in charge of Revenue Administration. Welcome, Wilson. The second one, we have Kevin Mutiso. We have Kevin Mutiso from the Digital Finance Services Association of Kenya. Third, we have Vikaran Ubi, who's the country lead of Paystack. Welcome here. Then also we have Henry Mbugwa, who's the country manager of AutoCheck. And then we have Janet Daly, who's the head of partnerships, ecosystems, and fintech technology at the Diamond Trust Bank. Wonderful. So I think as we begin, I'd like to invite our host, which is the Nairobi County, Mr. Wilson, to come and give his keynote address.
Esteemed participants, my name is Wilson Gakuya. I'm currently the Chief Officer in charge of Revenue Administration at Nairobi City County Government. It's a great honor to stand before you this afternoon to engage and to have an interactive session so that maybe you can be able to learn from one another. I think the essence of these sessions is to understand what is happening elsewhere so that we can borrow from one another. Esteemed participants of the Innovate Nairobi Tech Week, thank you for the opportunity to share insight into the ongoing journey of digitalizing Nairobi City County revenue processes and the exciting array of payment options. Today, we will explore the milestones achieved and the challenges faced and the abundant opportunities that await innovative minds in the endeavor to automate and digitalize Nairobi City County Revenue Administration. Globally, the digital revolution has paved the way for profound changes in tax policy and design in revenue administration. Kenya has been among the success stories leading the way with the mobile phones-based financial services platforms. Since the promulgation of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, the county governments are expected to enhance county own source of revenues from property tax and other fees and charges as outlined in the County Government Act. However, revenue collection is a challenge experienced by most of the 47 county governments, and hence there's a need to embrace financial technologies in revenue mobilization. In our county, Nairobi, in order to improve the county own source of revenue, the Nairobi County government has implemented initiative and reforms to modernize the county revenue administration. Before the 2022, the county led on the traditional legacy systems called Lifeform. But with the further development, the Nairobi County has now moved from the legacy system to an integrated county revenue collection system called Nairobi Pay. For those who live in Nairobi, are you about Nairobi Pay system? Ever heard about Nairobi system? I'll talk about Nairobi Pay system. The Nairobi Pay systems, through the Nairobi systems, we're able to register our taxpayers based on unique personal identifications as the PIN number and the national ID. Once a taxpayer is registered, we create an account where a comprehensive business information is captured. We have been able to integrate the Nairobi Pay systems with our banks, that is the cooperative banks and equity banks. The systems allows real-time access and update of ledgers upon payments, registration, and submission by partner banks. Allow me to highlight some of the milestones that we have been able to achieve through the Nairobi Pay system. We are able to identify the potential non-compliance patterns and address them as they come. The implementation of the online tax filing systems has streamlined the process for individuals and businesses, reducing paperwork and enhancing data accuracy. We are now able to have automated payment reminders, whereby even if you have forgotten the due dates, we can be able to be reminded through SMS. The e-payments integrations allows the various stakeholders to, it allows the integration of the system from the various government agencies, such as the KRA, the NTSA, and other bodies, so that we can be able to share information across the platforms. We are able to have a real-time tracking, whereby we're able to track the payments and the receipts on a real-time basis. In the current status, All our revenue streams have been automated. And indeed, we are cashless governments. We don't accept money by cash. You have to pay through the various payment options. We have been able to automate 120 out of the 107 revenue streams, reflecting 88% of the revenue streams, whereby you can get a special bill that reflects the revenue that you are paying. The rest of the unautomated revenue systems, even if you're not able to get the actual bill, we still have to bill you through what's called a global billing or like a miscellaneous billing, and able to get your invoice and the receipts immediately. Through the Nairobi Pay systems, you will be able to have a self-service to customers. You've got automated back office workflows, lead-time payments, reconciliations, and digital downloadable invoice, receipts and license and permits. We are able to do data validations with NTSA, national ID and alien ID documentation, the business registrations, and also the PIN registrations. So that at the point of even of registering, we're able to validate if these are a genuine taxpayer or not.
Unbanked or that have no easy access to financial services can, through mobile money applications or similar formats, be supported in this endeavor. The third approach is really looking at how to make it more feasible to formalize. And this really means to increase the capacity of actors in the informal sector to formalize. Because I think it's also very important to mention that given the large size of the informal sector, it will be difficult to formalize the entire informal sector at once. So it has to really be a gradual approach and looking at those that have the capacity and the means to formalize. And in that sense, the digital applications and different digital processes can enhance this procedure. And when we talk about this, it's also always important to enhance the importance of productivity. So becoming part of the formal sector means also that businesses are more productive, they sell more, they have a better performance, the productivity of the labor force increases. So it's really important to consider different policy areas in an integrated approach. And finally, digitization can also support formalization by looking at strengthening the capacities of inspections. So be it supporting them to do factory inspections, but also training the capacity to negotiate and consult with informal sector actors of how they can improve the compliance with existing regulations. And the last point here is really about the institutional coordination. So when we look at the transition to formality, we are not only talking about business registration, but we are also involving issues of complying with taxation, being able to comply with sectoral requirements, but also enhancing social protection and labor protection regulations. So when these different actors who are responsible for these different policy areas coordinate better, the transition to formality can also be much more sustainable and also much more durable. And by creating digital platforms, be it through a one-stop shop or similar approaches, this institutional coordination can also be strengthened. And all of these approaches are really based on a process of dialogue, so tripartite dialogue, and also a voice representing the informal sector and the informal sector workers. So it's really essential to say that this is a government and tripartite approach, which also reviews and includes the